Creation Day 6, Dinosaurs, Part 2. In 1822, an English doctor's wife, Mary Mantell, noticed a large fossilized tooth laying on the ground. Later, her husband, Dr. Mantell, found several more teeth in the area, as well as some bones. He showed the fossil teeth to a friend who declared that they looked much like the teeth of an iguana. It was only then that they realized they had found the remains of an amazing new kind of animal, the animal we now refer to as the dinosaur. They gave it the name Iguanodon. Since the discovery of this fossilized dinosaur, the world of science has never quite been the same.
How are fossils formed?
The conditions must be just right for an animal to become fossilized, which is why we do not normally see plants and animals turning into fossils. When plants and animals die, they normally decompose very quickly due to natural processes. Insects and worms feed on dead things, and oxygen in the air causes dead things to decompose. In order for something to turn into a fossil, it must be buried very quickly after death so it does not have time to rot and decompose or be eaten by scavengers. It must be buried deeply below the surface so it is not in the presence of oxygen or bacteria. It also must be washed with water, which contains a lot of minerals. If an animal or plant is buried under these conditions, over time, every cell in that bone or plant will be gradually replaced bit by the minerals which are dissolved in the water. Eventually, it will become hard as rock. In fact, it will turn into a rock, but it still will have almost the exact shape of the original bone, tooth, plant, or whatever was fossilized. It does not take millions or even thousands of years for something to become a fossil. It just takes the right conditions. Down in an old abandoned mine shaft, the hat of a miner was discovered that had been there for about 50 years. The hat was made of soft fabric, but now, 50 years later, it had become fossilized and was as hard as a rock. After lying at the bottom of the mine shaft in water that contained a lot of minerals, the hat had fossilized. The miner's soft hat had turned into a hard hat. Fossilized dinosaurs and many other animals have been found in all parts of the world. Fossils give us evidence of a worldwide catastrophe, such as a worldwide flood. A flood would cause sudden, deep burial and provide the right conditions for fossilization. In some places, fossils of many dinosaurs are found all jumbled together in a huge graveyard. This is exactly what you would expect to find if they had been tossed around in a gigantic worldwide flood. All we have left today to tell us about the creatures that roamed the entire Earth long ago are the many fossil bones, fossil footprints, and fossil eggs. But finding them in areas where no dinosaurs could possibly live today provides further evidence of the Great Flood as recorded in the Bible.
What dinosaurs have actually been discovered?
Several hundred different varieties of dinosaurs have been discovered. We're going to talk about just a few of the more common ones today.
Triceratops.
Triceratops was a three-horned dinosaur in the family of ceratopids. He had a short neck and a large head. His nose horn was short and thick, but above his eyes were two massive horns up to 40 inches long. Triceratops ate only plants, but what a menacing sight this creature must have been. Triceratops was about 30 feet long and weighed about 6 tons.
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor was a swift, agile meat-eater. To help him hold down his victims, the Velociraptor had sharp, curved claws on his feet. His sharp teeth could rip through chunks of meat. Velociraptor stood about 5 feet tall and weighed about 150 pounds.
Dimetrodon.
Dimetrodon is unusual because of his sail-like fin. The purpose of this large fin is still a mystery to the experts. Some think it may have helped regulate his body temperature, but others believe it may have been used to catch the wind and help the creature sail through the water. Dimetrodon grew to be 11 feet long with a 6-foot-tall fin and weighed over 600 pounds. He is believed to have had a diet of small animals and insects.
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus was a large plant eater in the family of sauropods. Sauropods were the largest, longest, tallest, and heaviest of all the animals on our planet. Their strong legs were like massive tree trunks holding up this enormous weight. Brachiosaurus means arm lizard and was so named because it had long front legs that held its shoulders up higher than its hips. A full-grown Brachiosaurus was about 75 feet long, and his head could reach 40 feet above the ground. He weighed a massive 70 tons or more. An unusual feature of the Brachiosaurus was the fact that his nostrils were not located on the end of his snout, but in the hollow dome on the top of his head.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus rex, meaning king of the tyrant lizards, is not only the most famous dinosaur, but is also the largest carnivore or meat eater. He stood 20 feet tall and was 50 feet long, the size of a semi-truck and trailer. He left a 24-inch long footprint and weighed about 6 tons. His short, weak arms are a continual mystery to scientists. No one has been able to figure out just what he did with them because they weren't even long enough to reach his chin.
Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus was the best known of the plated dinosaurs. He weighed about 2 tons and was about 25 feet from head to tail. Low-growing plants made up most of his diet, but he could probably stand up on his back legs to reach taller vegetation. Because the plates on his back were hollow and grooved, it is believed that blood circulated through the plates to help regulate his body temperature. It is interesting to note that these plates were not connected to his spine, but rather to his thick skin. These are just a few of the dozens of varieties of all the amazing dinosaurs that have been found on the earth.
Why did God put these huge creatures on the earth?
We can't know for sure why God created these immense creatures, but one thing to remember is that the original Earth was an ideal place for plants and animals to grow. Fossilized specimens of gigantic plants have been found, plants that only grow to a fraction of that size today. Perhaps God created these plant-eating dinosaurs with their huge appetites to keep the rapidly growing vegetation in check. After a sauropod ate his way through an area, I'm sure there was a wide, clear path through the jungle. Dinosaurs are just a small fraction of the creatures that God made on Creation Day 6. We'll talk more about some of the other amazing creatures that God created in that 24-hour day next time. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching the Bible Brick Channel. If you liked this video, please click like and subscribe below. And check out our other videos. You can find links to all our videos on BibleBrick.com. That's Bible-Brick.com.